I would say that was probably the hardest part for me was like the back. But outside of that, when I was competing, it was like all about like abs, chest. You know, they wanted like a slick look. Once I got my pro card, all of a sudden it was they want this crazy back, and the guys became giants.
Oh, okay.
Like they're so big now that they basically look like bodybuilders. So it kind of my look in the beginning was like perfect for the sport.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, it kind of evolved, and the guys just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was kind of one of those things where I had some injuries and I just couldn't keep up to the point where these dudes are just mass monsters. But the good thing is now they're kind of bringing the sport back down and making guys a little bit smaller. And they actually added a new division for the girls where it's just like a bikini. It's like a normal, it's called like the model.
Okay.
It's like model something. It's like a model look. It's like they don't want you to look all, you know, ripped. They just want to have a little bit of glutes, and it's just more of like that beach look. When you see a girl on the beach and you're like, oh wow, she looks really good. That's like the look. The bikini look now, these girls are so, they're like buff. They're like,
yeah.
They got some size to them. They got the shoulder caps and they're ripped, and it got a little extreme. So they kind of opened up another division for it.
A friend of mine, she actually, we'll put one more plate on.
Okay.
Two is normally where I'm at.
Okay.
When she was competing, mind you, like, so I played college sports. I've been playing sports since I was like 7 years old, and then got into the modeling side. And with that, the physique that they're going for now is, you know, the athletic frame. I had always been that, but mind you, when I got into it, I was too curvy.
Yeah.
Which is like, let's zoom out and let people know what curvy looks like.
Yeah.
And what we went through at that time. But when my girl was competing, I remember the look was long hair, good skin, glutes, of course, as always, hamstring, have that moment. But then I felt like a lot of it was really focusing on a physique that you can't achieve naturally without altering something. So back to, they had to get breasts done to be more feminine.
Yeah.
And I do feel like the shift now is natural coming in and understanding like femininity doesn't have to always be in, say, with the breast or with the glutes. It's like there's other ways to show that. And I like where we're going.
Where it's going. And the same thing with the bikini world, right? The NPC world, the bodybuilding. Yeah. The girls got to a point where now they got to take stuff. They got to enhance, right? Not with surgery, but with drugs. So all of a sudden they got it so crazy that they're like, hey, you have to take Anavor, take some sort of steroid to basically be at that level. Now, there's some girls that can do it and they don't need to take stuff, but to be very competitive or to be at the pro level, most likely you have to take some stuff. And a lot of these girls are like, hey, I don't want to take this because it messes with my voice, messes with my hormones. There's a lot of side effects that a long term can really affect you. And so that's why I think they brought this other division in, which is the model division, right? So what do you think about like as far as that battle with women? Because I feel like it's so hard now to like really find what is that look that you want. It's almost like the public decides what you should look like, right?
Yes. So you are what you consume. If you are staring every day at these bodies that are enhanced, then you're going to feel that that's the standard. If you are looking at natural, fit women, that's the standard. If you're looking at soft Pilates bodies, that's the standard. So it's really what you decide you want to take in. The one plus side to social media, to the internet, is that we can choose what we want to consume. We have that option. It's not, oh, this woman was on the cover, this is the standard. Oh, this woman was in this video, this is the standard. It's not anymore. So you have to have a conversation with yourself and what you want. And that's a lifelong battle.
Yeah.
It really is something that it's a day by day. And to anybody that has that confidence with their body, like, God bless you. Because for most of us, we're constantly trying to figure out what we like.
Yeah.
And try not to put the pressures of society on ourselves. So, like, my Instagram has definitely changed from what I consume. I did take a step back from all the big booty girls. Because that's what was on my feed.
Yeah.
It's what I was around.
Yeah.
I realized that I was trying to fit something that I physically didn't like.
Yeah.
So I adjusted. I really appreciate a lot of different types of bodies. and I also appreciate my own. So I do certain things like I wear a swimsuit around my house. I feel my most comfortable and confident in a swimsuit. Thick, skinny, whatever. I look at myself and I appreciate it. Because I remember growing up, there was no one that looked like me. Nobody, it's like in the face, in the body, I never saw that. So I remember going, what's wrong with me? Why were people picking on me? Why do I look so different? And as I got older, I realized I was like, I like me. And sometimes I gotta remind myself. So when I'm walking around my house, I feel great. I look in the mirror, I'm like, you did that. And then that's what kind of keeps me centered.
Yeah.
You gotta hype yourself up.
Yeah, for sure. I think that those conversations you have with yourself are really important, because I know, like, as a bodybuilder, there's an expectation that the judges decide how you look, right?
Yeah.
So for some people, like you were saying, it's the magazines or it's Instagram, right? And you're going up and down on Instagram and you're looking at other people. For me, it's the guys that are on stage and what the judges think how you should look, right? So I know you were asking me earlier, like, what's your favorite body part to work out, or the hardest one to work out is my back, because now they want your back to look a certain way. They are so crazy, these guys' backs, but that is what the expectation is. So maybe I don't even care about having this nice, wide-looking back, but the judges want a nice, wide, thick back, right?
Yeah.
So I have to do everything I can to get that.
So how did you deal with the pressures of you have to appease them?
Yeah.
That's one thing. When you are putting yourself in a position to be judged, and the way that you look is your income or where you gain your status, how did you navigate that? And what were some of the things that you had to do on the days that made you feel like this is not for me?
I think, like, you know, competing and going back to what you said is like, how do I, how do I feel about it, or like how
did you deal with your own insecurities in your sport?
Yeah, so for me, I think right away off the top, like, I was always like, no matter what happens, I'm gonna be comfortable with how I look, because like you were saying earlier, when you put on weight, guess what? Your face is fat.
Oh my God.
You're 250 pounds, your gut is out to here, because you need to eat 4, 5, 6,000 calories to put that size on. So I'm walking out of the house, I'm not fitting any of my stuff, my belly's hanging out, my face is fat, but I know that there's a purpose for me to look that way. So I was always comfortable with how I looked in the mirror. As long as I had, like you said, have that conversation with yourself, get comfortable with yourself, and know, like, hey, this is what you're gonna look like. I've been skinny, I've been fat, I've been all of it, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I just always felt like, as long as I'm in the gym and I'm working out and I'm taking care of my body, then I'm happy, right?
Okay.
But I think when I get into the mirror and I start comparing myself to other people, that's when I go wrong. So I think this is the biggest mistake competitors make, is they look and they see somebody and they go, oh man, I gotta look like this person, right? And they're competing against this person. If I go and I'm going against the best guys in the world and I'm looking at how they look and try to fit that standard, it's gonna be really tough.
Yeah.
All I can do is be the best person I can be on that stage, and just work out as hard as I can and look as good as I can and do all the stuff I need to do so that I look good for myself. But I can't, like you said, I have like a longer torso. My look is totally different than the guy who's winning the Olympia.
Yeah.
But I gotta make them fall in love with my look.
Right.
And so that's the biggest thing is like, you can't compare yourself, because when you start doing that, then you really get into your head.
Yeah.
And that's where the problems start, right? So a lot of these competitors, they get on there and they start getting in their own head, and now they're psyching themselves out. They don't want to do the show, or they're scared to do the show. They're intimidated. But I think you have to be really, really comfortable with like how you look, and then once you're comfortable with how you look, I feel like you'll do a really good job up there, because you're just like, you know what? I did the best I could. I showed up. I did my cardio. I did my food. I did everything I needed to do, and however I show, wherever the cards land, great. If they don't like me, they don't like me. At least I like me. You know what I mean?
So what did get you into competing?
Actually, it was kind of crazy. I was just working out a lot, and wearing tank tops and stuff like that. And I had this one judge, and she kept telling me, she's like, you should compete. They really like your look. I think you should compete. And I'm like, nope, I'm not getting no spray tan. I'm not ending up in those little underwear. Like, I'm not doing all that, right? So I was like, my friends will make fun of me. I'm from Hayward and Castro Valley and that area. Like, those guys are gonna make fun of me if I compete. But over time, I've started to see these guys on the magazines. I'm starting to see them on Instagram. Like, man, this guy's got 100,000 followers. Like, how are these guys making all this money? You know what? Let me actually try and see if I can do it. So she asked me again. She's like, I'm telling you, you're gonna do well. Like, you should go compete. So I went out, I did a show, and she was right. I did really well, and I won that show. And I rang off like 7 or 8 shows that I took first place in. and I kind of realized, okay, this is my calling, right? Like I'm really good at this. She's a judge. She should know what the look is.
Yeah.
And at that time, when I was competing, I did really well. And some of the stuff that I have now is because of competing, right?
Okay.
I think a lot of people trusted me because I was able to get myself to a certain place and look a certain way. And then they were like, hey, you know what? This guy knows what he's talking about. He looks a certain way, but also his clients look really well too.
Yeah.
So I think all that kind of had, something to do with me getting to where I'm at today, is having the gym and owning it. And so I just feel like where I am today is like competing and doing all that stuff got me into this door to be able to have the gym now.
Why'd you stop?
My shoulders jacked up. I tore something in my labrum, and that, and then age. These guys are young and they're like 28, 29. And I'm a lot older than they are, and so it's like I think age. I don't think it has that much to do with it, but between my injury and me getting older and having the gym and having the responsibilities that I have now.
Yeah.
Like this gym takes a lot out of you. I thought, oh, you're just gonna open up a gym,
Yeah.
you're gonna come and work out, like it's gonna be all good, right?
Yeah.
And it ain't like that at all. It's like, man, you gotta be on top of everything. And every little thing can stress you out. I could have one little thing where a ball's left behind by a trainer, let's say.
Yeah.
I gotta go text them, text the group, do it in a political way, make sure that I'm writing it. Hey guys, you guys gotta put your stuff back. The members are looking at you guys to see how you guys are, right?
Yeah.
So that's one little thing. I got to do the Amazon orders. Luckily, I have my brother. I have a team of guys helping me.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that goes on in the gym that you don't realize. If something breaks, you got to fix it. If someone cracks the tile, you got to fix it. If the toilet's not working, you got to fix it.
The tile. If you guys follow him on Instagram, watch his stories. To anybody that's really wanting to get an insider scoop on like what everybody's doing on a day-to-day, watch the stories, because the tile fiasco, it was a fiasco because most people don't take into consideration this is your home. This is what you invest in. This is your life, right? It's your baby.
Yeah.
I would feel some type of way if somebody was disrespecting my child.
Yeah.
People out here just dropping weights, acting like this is free.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, who's gonna fix it?
I know. And then the other part is like I get a lot of I feel like hate because people are like, oh, your gym's so expensive, and
As it
I'm
should
like,
be.
But you guys gotta understand, like I spend a lot of money on this equipment. Like I have to be able to pay rent. I gotta keep the lights on, right?
Yeah.
Like I can't charge $30 or $40. You're good. Like I can't charge $30 or $40
No.
for the membership. I would never be able to make back what I need to make back to pay off all the stuff that I paid for.
Yeah.
So then you get a lot of that. You get the hatred and people, oh, he's this and he's that, just because they're not in here working out because you have certain expectations.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you got to pay your bills on time. Like you got to pay PG&E or they shut your lights off. You don't pay us and you think you're going to come work out. It's like, hey, I'm going to have to ask you, like, I'm sorry, but this isn't the gym for you,
Yeah.
So for me, the price that you're paying for the equipment that you get, the parking, the cleanliness, and all of the other stuff that comes with it,
Yeah.
I think it's well worth it. And in fact, I think we're underpriced.
I agree.
So, people are gonna have problems with you. That's you know how that is. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always gonna be haters. There's always gonna be people that, don't see eye to eye with you. Or they see it through their lens.
But here's the thing. Does the owner of Equinox hear that noise?
No.
Does the owner of these private high-end places hear that? They don't, because they understand the process that they had to go through to get to that point. We invest into ourselves, and where we decide to surround ourselves is very important. For me, coming to this gym in particular is really about the people I want to surround myself with, and you pay for that. One of the most valuable things that I was told by someone that I admired was you invest into your body, but you also invest where you put that body. So you are what you surround yourself with, and if everybody in here is on the same mindset of being positive and getting what they need to do, and honestly being able to network, that's what you're paying for. I have places that I go that are exclusive because of the people that go there. It's not for everybody, and if you want to go and you don't want to pay, there's plenty of places. You actually don't even need a gym to get into shape. Most people don't understand it's an investment into your surroundings, the way that we've been able to work, the way that I'm able to focus. You have put me in contact with some people that have helped me in my career that I might not have necessarily gone if I was somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. And anybody who's willing to pay knows the benefit of it, and it's not going to tell you it's too expensive.
Yeah, I just gotta sometimes block out like the noise. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you're active on social.
Yeah.
You're active. You're responsive, which is part of the appeal in coming. It's part of why initially, everybody, they fell in love with you. Look at you, this is what you do. I want to be where he's at. You built the place, this is where I'm at. Now there has to be a process. Not everybody is going to come with us to these places.
Yeah.
But if you invest, then you understand why. If this place started getting cheaper and everybody was able to come, it would just turn into another place and it would lose that like value that people aren't necessarily seeing.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. It'll lose its value for sure.
Yeah.